And just like that, I'm back. Danielle and I had an awesome honeymoon in Italy. If you didn't watch the video of us driving around in that Fiat 500 in Tuscany, check that out here. At least I think that's how the sticker thing works, I don't know. But 16 days away from here, along with the week before that and the week of our wedding before that, feeling pretty rested and happy, and hopefully you can tell. I feel like a lot of my other videos right before I kind of wrapped up the car for Labor Day, I was definitely pretty exhausted, and I feel like it's a lot more obvious now that I took a long break. It sucks to come back to Michigan after being on the beach in Italy because it's 50 degrees outside and everything's just gray. So that's not great, but a little more motivation to do some stuff now that I had some time off. So I have one thing that I kind of need everybody's help with, and that is what to do about the transmission in the wagon. So it's still got the Turbo 400 in it, which big shout out to Lance for letting me keep that in there for kind of however long I really want to, as long as it's not too long. But I need to figure out what to do next. And I did a little poll on Instagram, and I didn't know that you have to check the poll before the story expires or you can't see that data, so I kind of missed that. But when I did check it, I had 4 options. One was 6L80, because that's what was in the car originally, or that's what was behind the V8 in those cars originally. The 10L80, which is what I've got $5,000 worth of laying around here. I got 2 of them. An 8HP, which has become a very popular option and beefier than the 10L80. Or the last option, which is the one I think actually seems like the most fun, is a TR6060, which you could also get in that car. So it's not as like weird, crazy swap, but I'm not trying to race it. I'm trying to enjoy it and have a good time, and manuals are fun. So I need to figure out what to do, and my plan is over the next, probably before the end of the year, try to get that swap done one way or another. So let's walk through a couple of the options and see what the downside upside is, right? So first option, 6L80. I don't have one to show you. I can Google a picture of a 6L80, but anyways, I'll put it on the screen. 6L80, that's what came in the car. Not super great, not bad, it works. I don't know if I'd have to do anything. Maybe some internal work, I don't know. Swapping that in though, easy, you could bolt right up. I think I have a drive shaft that fits in it. So total swap cost for that, probably like $1,000. Like an $800 6L80. I should probably do a torque converter. So just call that $2,000. 6L80, $2,000. Programming and controlling it via the Haltech, I think their new 6-speed controller is coming out soon. Pretty soon. Which would make it fairly plug and play. So, and they sponsor, so, you know, cheaper. So let's just we'll call it $2,000. Second option, 10L80. This is the one that I've been trying to do for a long time. And the reason I've got 2 transmissions, the one, which I, swapped back and forth, right? I had the one from 2023 and up, which is Global B, electric platform for GM. That one had the push button gear shift or gear selector. That didn't pan out. That's too complicated. No one's done that before. Could I figure that out in time? Yep, probably. But do I not want to drive the car? No, I definitely want to drive the car, and not forever with the Turbo 400. So I switched to the earlier generation 10L80. Fine, nothing internally, great, whatever, that's fine. I swapped the 4-wheel drive and the 2-wheel drive one. Boom, I have a good, ready to go 10L80. It bolts right in. I have the torque converter. I had the drive shaft. I used the same one for the Turbo 400, whatever. But still have to figure out how to control that. So I got this box here. This is CAN Gateway from Minton Performance. Could do 3 CAN networks in here, which is really cool. So I could have the body, so I could talk to the BCM and it could finally know it's in drive and the doors would automatically lock. It would know it was in park, so I could actually open the trunk normally, whatever. That would be kind of cool. And regardless of what option I choose now, I can still do that because I have this. But the second one would be for the TCM, and then the third one would be for Haltech if I went with the 1080 setup. I've got some friends that are willing to help me with the code, including Mitch and my buddy Jason over at OBD Sync, but this is probably still months of me coding. ChatGPT help a lot, which is great, but it's winter here now, basically. Can't really like go out and drive the car, and I don't want to just have it in the garage in my office on quick jacks with like a hose running to outside so I can try to shift gears and stuff. The car's set up for this. This is what I originally wanted to do. The code part really making me not want to do it. And not because I don't want the challenge, but also because I kind of don't want the challenge anymore. I'm pretty stress-free because of Italy, and I kind of want it to stay that way. So I'm still going to use this because also, oh yeah, I don't have power steering, and so I can't really like beat the crap out of the car because like it's heavy and no power steering. I'm not doing that. So this would help me get power steering. So this is going to get used regardless. I'm going to have to write some code, which is fine, but do I want to write hundreds of lines of handshaking code between the TCM and the Haltech to make that work? Like, could monetize it afterwards. That'd be cool. And I have it. Already made the investment, but I could also just sell it and buy something else. So I don't know. That's toss up. This is a big oof for me because it is what I wanted, or I thought I wanted. It'd be cool to have 10 gears, I guess. Anyways, so swap cost for this, 0, because I have everything, right? So there's that. So $2,000, 6L80, 10L80, 0. Time though for 10L80 is a lot. The third option, which is super popular, is the 8 HP. So like that was the super cheap Chrysler V8 Trans. At least that's what I think it was for. They're also used in the truck, I guess. Pretty bulletproof. I don't think it really needs anything internally. The problem is it doesn't bolt up to an LS easily. Like I gotta get an adapter. It doesn't make it difficult, but it's a thing I have to buy, right? So I'd have to buy an adapter, and then there's a control module that exists that works with Haltech. But it's $2,500. So I'd have to buy the trans. Let's just say that's $1,000. I don't know how much they actually are, but if a 6L80 is $1,000, I imagine 8 HP is probably $1,000. $2,500 for the controller. Now that means it would work, which is great. So no programming really, but not cheap. So that's $3,500. The adapter plate and flywheel, not flywheel, flex plate. And now, what I need a torque converter, probably also. So let's just call this $4,500. $5,000 maybe? $5,000. So we got $2,000, 0, and $5,000. A lot of money. Not great. But that would work, and it would hold all the power, and that would still be kind of cool. The same amount of cool as the 10L80 for me, I guess. I got the paddle shifters wired up and everything, whatever. I have the stock shifter I can throw back in it when I had the 10-speed in it. So that option does exist. That's great. The fourth option, and the one that kind of sounds fun now, is the TR6060. Came in a version of that car. You could get it in the Camaro, you know, whatever. They're not crazy expensive. They're like $2,000, which is basically what I can sell the 10L80 for. So, yeah, also $0 for the trans. The wiring, kind of not really existent because it's a manual, and it bolts right up. I don't know what I would have to do for a drive shaft, but that cost is, we're gonna say $700 because that's how much my custom 10L80 drive shaft was. And I don't know if I kept the 6L45 drive shaft because that might, whatever. It was tiny. That would probably break. Like twist it into a pretzel. So TR6060, the thing I'd have to find a clutch pedal and a clutch. So it's not hard to find the clutch. Clutch pedal might be a little harder, but not impossible. I don't know if you can just use a Camaro one for left-hand drive and put it on the right-hand drive side. I'd have to figure out like where the mounting holes are. That's not a big deal. And the master and slave cylinder setup, which all off-the-shelf stuff that you can still get because Camaro. But the clutch and trying to get a clutch that will hold the power I'm making, again, not hard to do, but not cheap. So we'll just say $1,500 for a clutch and flywheel setup. And then custom drive shaft, which is kind of negligible because every single one of those options needs one except for a 6L80. But I don't have the drive shaft, so I kind of have to spend that money anyway. So drive shaft cost negligible. $2,000 for the 6L80, assuming that Haltech's controller comes out. $0 for the 10L80, but probably 2 to 3 months of me pulling my hair out, and it looks pretty good right now, so I don't want to do that. 5-ish for the 8 HP setup. I can offset some of that 5 with the two 10L80s that I'm still trying to get rid of one of them, but then I'd have to get rid of the other one too. Or what did I say, $2,000, $2,500 for the TR6060. I don't know. I'm so torn because the TR6060 seems like it'd be a lot of fun. I don't sit in traffic in this car. I don't daily drive it, but I could, especially if it had more than 3 gears. So I think a supercharged car with a manual seems like a really good time. Also, like after driving the little Fiat in Italy and then riding in everything there is a manual, and that's really how it should be, I guess. But it just kind of made me want that. And then I was looking for like random crap for the garage at a marketplace, and I saw one, and I was like, wow, that's cheaper than I thought it would be. Maybe I should do that. Because manual supercharged LS Wagon still sounds pretty badass. So I'm going to do that thing where like I ask you to tell me what you think in the comments, and I'm actually going to pay attention. I mean, I pay attention to the comments anyway because like 4 of you respond, but let me know what you think. Like, what would you want in your wagon? Because I can't make up my mind. Lance thinks a TR6060 would be cool too. That's what he's got in his car that he's building, and seems like a really good time and less programming. But I don't want to downplay how cool a 10L80 or an 8 HP swap would be, because they are fast, and like I like to do hood rat stuff with my friends. Just kidding, we don't do dumb stuff like that, but it would be cool to go fast. I don't drag race or anything in that car. It's just like to look good and have some fun with, and that's it. So maybe the TR6060 makes the most sense. Yeah, I'm not totally sure. But on that note, the wagon, I haven't done anything to it since, kind of since I took it to Cars at the Station. It's sitting pretty much the same. Well, I haven't done anything to it since I replaced that tire after the caliper bolt fell out. The only thing it needs right now, the tune is great, thanks to Lance, and it has a small coolant leak that I've yet to track down because it's tiny and I don't really care. But I need to do that. I'm taking it to Cars and Coffee this weekend. That'll probably be the last time I drive it for the year, like for anything real besides moving it around in the driveway. And so the next step is really transmission. And then after that, clearly it doesn't have a wide body yet. You know, I've been kind of busy, like getting married and stuff. So the wide body is on the to-do list. And then I've got the wheels. I haven't even shown them, but I have the wheels. I've had them for months. So I think what I want to do is get the transmission in, and then I can put the wheels on and mock up the wide body. Like I'll probably rescan the fenders just so that I make sure I get like the perfect lip to fender fitment when it's all the way down on the air suspension. So I think that's my plan. And then once I got to figure out how I'm going to print it, because I don't want to print it in a bunch of tiny pieces like the wing, because the wing, you can tell when it's hot, the glue joints expand differently than the plastic, and you can tell that it's a bunch of pieces. It still looks really good, but I notice, and that means it's, you know, I think other people notice, and then I just get anxious about it. Does it really matter? No, because it's still really cool. But I don't want to print this wide body kit in like 800 pieces. That just does not seem appealing. I clearly don't like bodywork. There's a couple companies that I've looked at working with that can do each fender or even the whole front bumper in one piece. And that sounds pretty awesome to not have to do bodywork. But I don't know how expensive it would be. Maybe they want to sponsor me. You guys want to sponsor me? I should probably remember their company name before I ask that question. But the other option is, and it's something I've wanted to do for like 2 years now, is finally build an industrial 6-axis robot arm printer and print them in one piece myself. I was just complaining about programming a transmission. A 6-axis robot arm sounds just as terrible, and it's not like there's software out there to easily slice parts to print them on that. It would be super, super cool to have that in here, though. I don't know where, actually, but it would be awesome. So let me know what you think about that. That's a good point, too. Let me just get other people's opinions, and then I'll decide what I want to do anyway. The other option is to 3D print in a bunch of pieces and make a mold and do it in like carbon or something. I wanted to carbon skin the wing. I didn't have time. I don't really want to do it myself, but it needs to be done because then it would look a lot better. But if I do all the other parts for the wide body in one piece, then do I need to do it in carbon afterwards? I don't know. The material the one company uses is like a fiber reinforced nylon, so that's as good as it gets. Like, I don't think I would need to do that, but then if, you know, I hood rat do something dumb into a pole or whatever, then, I mean, that's a problem anyway. But then I'd have to reprint it and sand it and wrap it again. And if I do a carbon one, then I have the mold and I can just lay up another one. It's probably still a ton of work either way, but I don't know. But I think I do want the wide body for a little bit. I was thinking maybe not, because the wheels do look really good and the fitment is absolutely perfect. But the front bumper, I think, looks like trash. So I really want something different there. And it would make the car look a lot more aggressive, which is what I want. I also want to do something with the hood, which I think that's more of a custom metal fab job than anything else. And I just haven't decided what direction I want to go. I've never seen a hood for any of the Holden vehicles that I would want myself. Doesn't mean they don't look okay, it's just not my style. So I got to figure that out. And then, so transmission, first step, because I want to give Lance his trans back. I feel kind of bad. And then the wide body. Interior is the other thing. So I haven't done any interior work, right? It's just completely stock, former fleet vehicle. That's it. Yeah, that's what it is. The guys at B&B Auto House in Australia, I've been talking with them a bunch. We've come up with some ideas on what to do. That's, again, not a cheap endeavor. They're coming over to Indianapolis in May, I think, and I could go down and work with them and install and do all that kind of stuff while they're doing other people's cars. I think that is what would look the best, but I'm still not sold on what seats I want to do. I don't really... They have foam to get you the highest trim level seat on my same seat frames, which is great. I like race car stuff, though, and that's still not... That still doesn't get me there. But I don't know of a seat that does, to be honest. And a seat that I could, like, road trip in. It's kind of a bummer to try and find something like that. I don't know why automotive seats just all look like crap to me. Unless you know of someone with a CT5 Blackwing carbon-backed seat. Because those look awesome. But they're like $5,000 for a set with busted airbags. So I'm at a bit of a crossroads on like a couple different parts of the car. That being said, that's kind of how the process goes. And I just haven't been able to make up my mind because, well, for one, I wasn't thinking about it while I was in Italy. I was having a good time. Just exploring Italy with the love of my life. And if you need advice, just do something like that. You could also just explore the love of your life, do that. Speaking of, the other distraction I've had is a collaboration. That's like the worst segue. I'll do it anyway. And it's really funny because I came up with this like terrible name for this product. And it's just kind of a fun collaboration between my buddy Chad at Dimensions Unlimited and myself. But we came up with these silicone caps. They're called Boost condoms because they're made like a silicone coupler. They're way beefier than a normal vacuum cap that's rubber that dry rots and leaks eventually. So we had these made. We're going to start selling these probably next week or the week after. They come with fuel injection style hose clamps. They're just kind of a funny thing that actually is a really good product. I'm about to put one on the Wagon for this weekend. And because we decided to call them Boost condoms, all of the marketing content stuff is just going to be kind of hilarious. So I got a bunch of them here. That's what all that is. So I'm going through inventory now and putting all that together, putting all the merch for that together. And so that's kind of where my head's been at. I also have a couple other small new things that are coming out soon. So I need input on the Wagon. Let me know what you think on any part of it. You can just be like, you're dumb. Your hair doesn't actually look good, that kind of thing. But the Boost condoms are cool. The other thing that's coming out probably end of the year is just another little fun, small thing. But trying to do more, products that are higher volume, less work for me because I really enjoyed my month off and I kind of want to enjoy my life a little more and not just be stuck in here just working. I like being out here doing stuff, but I don't want it to be as stressful as it was. So trying to do a lot of that kind of stuff, working on the Wagon, like the content's not going anywhere, right? But like working on the Wagon at a more realistic pace and trying to do the cool stuff I want. Again, that's why I need feedback to help make an informed decision, even though it's just going to be whatever I decide to do. But trying to do things a little bit differently just in life in general. If you haven't traveled across, out of the country, just do it, man. That's experience another culture. Just go do it. It's worth it. It's good perspective, if anything. And the food's really good. So with that, I'm back, have weekly updates. The other big thing. So Danielle was in the Fiat with me, right? It was just kind of us bullshitting while driving around, which was just seriously such a good time. We were doing like 30 miles an hour and it was just awesome. But in the spring, we're going to start a build for her. And honestly, I think it's going to get way more attention than my car, either of my cars. And I'm not mad about that whatsoever. I think it's going to be super cool. So she might be a little more involved. I don't think anybody will mind. I certainly won't, because the more hands, the merrier. So stay tuned for that. Weekly videos again on Wednesdays. I waited until 2:30 p.m. on this Wednesday to start this video, but yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun stuff to show. I just need some input, and then I'll show you what I decide to do and if I listen to your input. But anyways, I'm back, we're back, IPFRacing is back, full force, trying to knock out orders that I missed. Yeah, thanks for watching.